I could never be a cop. I could never be in any kind of law enforcement. I don't have the temperament for it. I couldn't do it. I do not have the temperament for it. These people, they're so, it's not illegal. It's not illegal. It's not illegal. It's not illegal. For several months now, as leftists have rioted all over the U.S. in the name of open borders, the pro-civilization side, which we have to remind ourselves remains a majority in this country, albeit a slim one, has been asking a very simple question.
All right, so in this clip, Matt Walsh absolutely unloads on what he calls the dumbest left-wing activist, a Democratic congressional candidate named Kate Abu-Ghazala, who, according to Walsh, basically filmed herself committing federal crimes, posted it online, and then cried free speech when she got indicted. Walsh dives into the double standard of justice, leftist hypocrisy, and the Democratic establishment's blind defense of its own extremists. We're talking open border protests, attacks on ICE agents, lenient judges, and Walsh's trademark no mercy tone. So buckle up. This isn't some neutral debate. This is Walsh in full flamethrower mode.
And that question is this: when exactly are these terrorists going to be arrested and thrown in prison, which is what you do with terrorists? These people are committing crimes on camera. They're not even attempting to hide their identity. They're openly bragging about the fact that they're attacking and impeding federal law enforcement officials. We've seen video after video in places like Portland and Los Angeles and Chicago. These are far worse crimes than the January 6th defendants were charged with. And those defendants were forced to spend several months in solitary confinement. They had their lives destroyed in many cases. Grandmothers with terminal cancer were imprisoned. Meanwhile, when it comes to these anti-ICE riots, there haven't been any consequences really to speak of. Simply put, different rules apply to leftists. That's been the norm for many years, of course. It was true during the first Trump administration as BLM rioters destroyed entire neighborhoods with impunity. And it's been true for most of this year as well. It's maybe the single most important responsibility of the current Trump administration to end this double standard. Because if they don't, then the violence is just going to escalate. It's emboldened. If we don't have the rule of law, the leftists will continue to hunt law enforcement as well as conservatives in the streets. They will kill us and celebrate our deaths. That's why I've been beating this drum for so long. It's a legitimate crisis that needs to be addressed. Well, the good news, which we've been waiting for, is that the Trump administration now appears to realize the importance of cracking down on these terrorists, and they're commencing that crackdown to the shock of leftist terrorists. The other day, a Democrat congressional candidate named Kate Abu-Ghazala was indicted in a federal district court in Illinois for assaulting, resisting, and impeding a federal law enforcement officer in the performance of his duties. Kate Abu-Ghazala, whose name I'm nervous to pronounce because it sounds like I'm summoning an ancient demon from the netherworld, was indicted along with two other Democrats, County Board candidate Kat Sharp and Democrat committeeman Michael Rabbitt. But all of these names sound completely made up. Michael Rabbitt. But I think these are real people. But Kate Abu-Ghazala is a defendant that I want to focus on for a couple of reasons. The biggest reason is that Kate Abu-Ghazala, in a somewhat unusual move for a criminal defendant, actually uploaded the footage of her crimes to the internet. Here's what she uploaded to X in late September. Watch.
Boom. The moment Walsh introduces the activist, he goes straight for mockery, calling her name a demon summoned and laughing about how these names sound made up. Classic Walsh, turning serious legal points into mock entertainment. But let's not miss the core argument. He's hammering the two-tiered justice system idea. Left-wing activists riot, nothing happens. Right-wing protests, solitary confinement. It's a fair point on uneven law enforcement, but Walsh leans so hard into outrage that he crosses into vindictive territory, openly cheering for long sentences just to ruin her life. That's not justice talk, that's vengeance.
Help with liberation! Deportation!
As a caption for this video, Kate Abu-Ghazala wrote, quote, "At the Broadview ICE facility, an ICE agent tried to run dozens of protesters over with an SUV as we walked in the public crosswalk. He kept driving for about a full football field until ICE barraged us with pepper balls. Now, the problem with this description, of course, is that she uploaded the footage that proves she's lying. And in case you're listening to the audio podcast, the footage shows that she's standing in front of a federal SUV that's trying to gain access to the ICE facility. It's part of a large and rowdy crowd. They're not walking, okay? They're not using the crosswalk. They're looking directly at the driver of the federal SUV. They're punching and scratching the car. Actually broke its windshield wiper off at one point. And they're trying to stop it from moving. It's very apparent that they wanted to disrupt ICE agents from doing their jobs, obviously, and they're succeeding. And the SUV isn't running anyone over, nor is it trying to run anybody over. It's doing the exact opposite. It's going 1 mile per hour trying to get to safety in the federal facility. It's actually going more out of its way than it probably should to avoid harming any of these people. I mean, they would actually be fully justified in just continuing to move, step on the gas pedal and move forward, because when you've got a crowd of people, an angry mob surrounding your car, you're in a life-threatening situation and you have every right, morally and legally, to just get out of that situation by whatever means necessary. But this car didn't do that, is the point. They were being very polite. Person in the car was actually putting their own life on the line to make sure that no harm came to these people that wished them harm. And by the way, this isn't the only footage showing Kat committing a crime at one of these ICE facilities. In the footage, she runs in front of a federal SUV. In this other footage, forcing a federal agent to remove her. Watch. So you see she gets thrown down at the end there. Kind of footage that might put a smile on your face. Not on mine. I mean, if you're a very cruel person, that footage might make you smile. I'm not saying it did for me, because I never smile at anything, as we all know. But again, it's an open and shut crime. Kat should have been arrested on the spot back in September. She also should have been disavowed by the Democrat Party. You actually don't have the legal right to do that. You're not allowed to stand in front of a law enforcement vehicle and say, no, you're not allowed to move. You're not allowed, that's against the law. You actually can't do that. But of course, she was not disowned by the Democrat Party. In fact, she's been endorsed by Ro Khanna, one of the most powerful Democrats in Congress. He's the supposedly reasonable Democrat from California, but he's endorsed a communist who's happy to commit multiple federal crimes on camera. And he's maintained that endorsement, even though Kat is obviously committing these crimes on purpose so that she can raise her profile in the race. That's why she's lying about what she did. It's why she posted the videos. That's why she's currently trying to fundraise off of this indictment. Watch.
My name is Kat Abou-Ghazaleh. I'm running for Congress in the 9th District of Illinois. And the Department of Justice is charging 6 people, including myself, with federal crimes for exercising our First Amendment rights near ICE's Broadview Processing Center. This is a political prosecution and a gross attempt to silence dissent, a right protected under the First Amendment. This case is a major push by the Trump administration to criminalize protest and punish anyone who speaks out against them. That's why I'm going to fight these unjust charges.
You almost have to admire the sheer, unadulterated shamelessness of the left at this point. They will film themselves committing crimes on camera, right out on the street in front of everybody, upload that footage to the internet, and caption it saying, hey, everybody, look at these great crimes I'm committing. Look at me committing crimes. Isn't it great? And they'll pretend to be stunned when they're prosecuted. Of course, she knows she's guilty. That's why she doesn't show any of the footage of her crimes in that video. But it doesn't matter. I think she's probably going to become more popular among Democrats because she attacks federal agents on camera and then posts the footage online. To be clear, when Democrats went after Donald Trump in every single case, they attempted to use a completely novel, incoherent interpretation of the law. They were obviously political prosecutions because they were making up the law as they went. For the business records case in New York, Democrats created a Frankenstein theory where jurors didn't even have to decide what felony Trump had supposedly committed 10 years earlier: tax evasion, campaign finance violations, business record violations. Yeah, just Anything is what the prosecutor said. Just convict them on anything at all. What you choose. It's like a choose your own endings book. Nothing like that had ever been tried before in the state. For the classified documents case, of course, Democrats had to ignore the fact that Joe Biden had committed the exact same fake crime, except in Joe Biden's case, he didn't have any legal authority to declassify anything. And for the January 6th case, Democrats tried to argue that Trump had committed an insurrection by telling his supporters to fight for their beliefs, which is boilerplate political rhetoric that every Democrat uses, and they use it in much more aggressive terms. And in the Fulton County, Georgia case, as we all remember, the prosecutors they were the ones who turned out to be the actual criminals.
Here's where Walsh shifts gears. From street protests to Democratic hypocrisy. He lists every Trump case and calls them political prosecutions. Now, whether you agree or not, this section is pure rhetorical firepower. Walsh is using the mirror tactic. You did fake prosecutions, now we're doing real ones. His logic is, if they criminalize politics, we'll weaponize justice back. That's the raw part of his message. If they play dirty, play dirtier. There's no subtlety, no middle ground. It's an eye for an eye speech, dressed in moral language. Powerful delivery, sure, but it's also dangerously partisan because he's not calling for equal justice. He's calling for payback.
All of these cases fell apart because they were political prosecutions of fake crimes. By contrast, Kat is being charged with a crime that's extremely clear and well established. Prosecuting someone for intentionally blocking a federal officer from getting to work on camera is not a novel application of law. It's not a cooked up, trumped up charge. It's standard. Anybody with an IQ north of 50 understands that. This is the point where we need to talk about Kat Abou-Ghazaleh's background. In case it's not obvious from that video, she's an extremely comically dull and useless woman. Her only real job prior to running for Congress was watching Fox News all day. She would watch Fox News and then make dumb videos for TikTok where she would misrepresent everything she could. Here's a sample of her work product, which we'll make as mercifully short as we possibly can. This is from back in 2023 when her job was to justify the prosecution of Donald Trump. Watch.
Fox News kind of melted down after last night's indictment. Their argument essentially boiled down to, well, Trump didn't commit a crime, he just simply committed a crime. But luckily, Fox brought on experts to explain this groundbreaking new legal theory. And the actual legal experts at Fox News said basically the same stuff. GW law professor Jonathan Turley's best defense of Trump was just restating the entire problem.
President Trump at the time said you only need to find around 11,000 votes. And that has been taken as an invitation for fraud.
And Greg Jarrett managed to say the same thing, but somehow worse.
It's not defrauding the government if you believe you're acting lawfully. It's not a crime to complain.
So that was her whole shtick, and with her sriracha sweater on. Her sweater was a shirt that said sriracha hot sauce, which I like sriracha too. I like it as much as the next guy. Wait, what? Like, why do you like it that much? I can't imagine liking a condiment that much that I would wear the shirt. I mean, if I was at a store and I saw that sriracha had merch, I would think, like, who's buying the merch for a condiment brand? Apparently, Kat Abou-Ghazaleh is. So maybe she's got it all. She's got the hot sauce shirt. She's got the mayo shirt. She's got a shirt that just says, brown mustard across the front of it. Anyway, what's the point? Well, she doesn't have the intelligence to actually respond to anybody's argument. So what she does is she clips their arguments down to 3-second sound bites without any context whatsoever. And then she attacks those sound bites as if that's what the person's whole argument was, which is, standard tactic on the internet these days. The remarkable thing is that Kat Abou-Ghazaleh was making useless videos like this from Washington, D.C. until she moved to Illinois in the summer of last year. In fact, according to her Wikipedia page, she voted in the last election from Washington, D.C. And now a year later, she's running for Congress in the state of Illinois.
Here's where Walsh goes nuclear. He names a liberal congresswoman, calls her one of the most dangerous people in the country, and straight up says she should be in prison. This is where you see Walsh and his emotions go into overdrive. He's blending the legitimate outrage over soft sentencing with a scorched earth mentality that leaves no room for dissent. It's one thing to demand accountability, It's another to declare ideological enemies as criminals by default. Still, the passion is what makes this clip viral. The anger, the cadence, the clarity. It's red meat for conservatives who feel the system's rigged. Walsh doesn't whisper. He points a flamethrower at the double standards and dares anyone to blink.
So here we have a very low IQ woman, a criminal with no meaningful work experience, isn't even from Illinois, and right now she's running for Congress in Illinois. And she might win. The latest polls show that she's within 5% of winning the primary in a very safe, reliably Democrat district, which takes place early next year. And prominent Democrats are standing by her, which tells you, once again, the state of the Democrat Party at every level. They don't have ideas. They're not honest. And they are terrorists. They film themselves committing crimes, politically motivated crimes. And they want you dead. So the appropriate response here, which the Trump administration is pursuing, is to put this woman on trial, convict her, and send her to prison. It's not a political prosecution. It's a righteous prosecution. The evidence of her crimes is available online. Use it. And yes, send her to prison. I don't want to hear anyone, I don't want to hear any conservatives say, well, all she did was stand in front of a car. We're going to send her to prison for years. Yeah, that's exactly what we should do. Absolutely. Throw the entire book at her, just give her the maximum sentence you possibly can under the law. You're going to ruin her life because she stood in front of it? Yeah, actually, yeah, that's exactly what we should do. Ruin her life. She ruined her own life. And that's what they would do to you. And that's what they have been doing. So are you going to let them play by those rules? Are we going to let them, are we going to play by rules where they're going to do everything they can to ruin our lives, but we're going to be nice in return and not do that to them? Just like just laying down and volunteering to be stomped? Is that the plan? For some conservatives, it is. For some conservatives, the plan is just, lay down on the ground, let them stomp you. I wouldn't want to stop them. I mean, that'd be rude. But we can't stop with her. Round up every other leftist who's impeding ICE officers in the performance of their duties, and also have them face the same penalties. Fortunately, again, that appears to be happening. This week in Chicago, a woman named Angelica Figueroa was tailgating ICE agents and broadcasting their locations on social media. And she did so, she was told numerous times that she was, she was told numerous times that she was interfering with an ongoing investigation, which is a federal crime. Officers pulled up next to her, told her to stop chasing them through the streets and running red lights in the process.
Matt Walsh wraps it up like a battle cry, not a commentary. There's no attempt to convince moderates. He's talking to his army, not the middle. Love him or hate him, Walsh knows what he's doing. Turning fury into fuel, and in this clip, he's not debating. He's declaring war on what he calls leftist lawlessness. If the goal was to shred the dumbest left-wing activists, mission accomplished. But let's be honest, Walsh isn't just shredding her. He's setting the tone for political revenge disguised as justice. Thank you for watching and listening to this video. Please like and subscribe to our channel. We'll talk with you on the next time.